Well, everyone, I know that we've been kind of focusing on the iPadOS software on the iPadOS 18 side with the new M4 iPad Pro, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of some of the accessories that I bring with me when I'm talking about kind of a travel everyday carry and everyday pack with the M4 iPad Pro, because even though the hardware is amazing, there are some things that can kind of help amplify your experience overall with the M4 iPad Pro, and a lot of these accessories will work with other products like older iPad Pros, M2 iPad Airs, and also things like a MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. But without further ado, let's talk about my favorite travel pack accessories for the M4 iPad Pro. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the actual messenger bag that I'm using to carry all the accessories that I'm going to mention in this video. And this is the Shinjuku Messenger bag by a company called Waterfield, which makes amazing leather carrying accessories like backpacks, messenger bags, carrying cases, folios, things of that nature to be able to carry everything in a nice quality package. And this is their normal size Shinjuku Messenger bag, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's meant to fit things like a 13-inch MacBook Air, a 13-inch iPad Pro, and fit it perfectly while keeping it protected and keeping the quality nice and high. And again, because you are paying a little bit of a premium, you do get amazing quality from everything from the leather being used, to the stitching, to the zippers. For instance, you have a nice magnetic clasp that holds this down in place, so you do have a flap that opens up, and also expands a little bit as well if you do really kind of pack this in with a bunch of stuff. It's comfortable, it fits enough of my stuff that I need to for maybe a daily or even an overnight kind of travel situation when it comes to the iPad Pro especially, and it just houses everything nice and tidy with enough pockets and enough kind of compartments to keep everything organized inside, outside, and while I'm carrying it as well. They also have a compact size, which is meant more so for the 11-inch iPad Pro or the 11-inch iPad Air. So if you do need something to kind of carry all of your goodies in a nice quality package, definitely check out what Waterfield has to offer, and the Shinjuku Messenger is something that I do recommend. So of course, now we got to get into the Messenger and talk about exactly what's inside of it, which is the M4 iPad Pro. And it's actually its own leather folio carrying case by a company called Woolnut. And again, I like to keep my iPad Pro extremely protected. My iPad Pro is my main computer. I probably spent a total of like $1,800 on this entire package between the M4 iPad Pro, the Magic Keyboard, and the Apple Pencil Pro. So again, I want to make sure everything is protected and kept nice and tidy. So this leather folio does exactly what it sounds like. It protects the iPad inside of a case itself with a nice quality zipper. And after you open it up, it does open up kind of like a flap, which is nice. And inside of it, you do see this nice felt packaging. So if you do just want to carry your iPad Pro fully naked and not have it on a Magic Keyboard or an additional folio case, then at least you'll know that it is protected from scratches and scuffs, and honestly probably comes out even cleaner than when you put it in, because it does kind of get rid of fingerprints, which is awesome. And also it's got a little holster for the Apple Pencil Pro or any stylus that you do carry with your iPad Pro or any iPad that you use with this one. And I do like that it also fits totally, so you can fit the entire iPad Pro package with the Magic Keyboard and with the Apple Pencil Pro attached, and it still zips up nice and tidy. But if you want a little extra security with the Apple Pencil, just slide it into that little Apple Pencil holster, which I usually don't actually do because that just adds a little bit of extra time. And then all you have to do is pull it out and you have your iPad Pro ready to go out of this nice, beautiful packaging. And then in terms of the iPad Pro that I'm using, I have the M4 iPad Pro in the 1TB variant, so I do have the 16 gigs of RAM, and I have it in the space black colorway, which I absolutely love. I have an Apple Pencil Pro sitting on there, which I have been liking more and more as I've gotten to use it, and I have the $350 Magic Keyboard, so that is the setup that I currently have for the M4 iPad Pro. And then on the Apple Pencil itself, some people were wondering, I do have a Paperlike pencil grip, and what's nice about this is that even though it is a pencil grip, and it's kind of at that point where you do use the new squeeze gesture, it doesn't get in the way at all. You can still use your double tap gestures, you can still use your squeeze gestures, and you still feel the haptics of the new Pencil Pro perfectly. So if you were wondering if you can use a pencil grip, by all means you can with the new Apple Pencil Pro. So in the messenger bag, you do have a nice compartment that is lined in microfiber, so that's why I actually house the iPad Pro, as you guys can see. And then you kind of have a bigger compartment which kind of houses everything else. So what I have in here are actually my Sonos Ace headphones in a walnut carrying case. Now, the walnut carrying case is technically made for AirPods Maxes, but I decided to give it a shot with the Sonos Ace, and lo and behold, they fit perfectly. So I wanted a nice leather case for the Sonos Ace because, yes, they're $450, they're a premium product, I want to make sure that they're protected. Not that the case that the Sonos Ace came with wasn't protective enough because it was a hard shell carrying case, but I kind of wanted to go with this leather aesthetic for this entire EDC or this travel pack that I'm doing for the M4 iPad Pro. But inside of them, I do have the soft white Sonos Aces, which honestly have been great. Now I do have a review of the Sonos Ace if you guys want to check it out, and they're definitely the most comfortable over-ear headphones that I've personally used, at least for the longest time. I've been wearing these for hours on end. It does have maybe a little bit of a I mean, I'm yearning for more of a thump every now and then, depending on what music I'm listening to or what movie I'm watching. So I do wish maybe there was a way to level it just one more notch. But outside of that, there's still a great sounding pair of headphones. Noise cancellation is amazing. Again, if you guys want to see my full review on these Sonos Aces, definitely check the link down below and I'll leave it in there. And then also what I decided to keep in this new case from Woolnut is the actual little carrying case for my USB-C cable, as well as my 3.5mm jack to actually plug into the Sonos Ace. Now there is a little clasp in this Woolnut case if you do just want to put your wires in there, but I do like this little carrying case that came with the original packaging, and it fits, again, nicely and perfectly in there. So what I like about this Woolnut case is that it protects it, it's still relatively hard shell, the zipper is nice, and there's also a little pass-through if you want to plug in your Sonos Ace with a USB-C cable and still have them in the case itself. So a nice little solution if somebody is looking to house their either AirPods Max or their Sonos Ace. Again, I haven't tested them out with any other over-ear headphones, so if you have the Sonys or the Bose, again, buy this at your own risk, but for the AirPods Max, and for the Sonos Ace, it does fit perfectly. But then you do have an internal cup holder, which again, I'm not using for the cup holder, but I'm using it to actually house my mouse. So the mouse that I'm using is by a company called ProtoArc. And what I like about this mouse is that, yes, it's relatively inexpensive, so you do get a great price-performance ratio, but it kind of checks off a bunch of boxes that you would want out of a travel mouse especially. So it's extremely lightweight, it has the two buttons, of course, that you want to click, your right and left click, you have a nice scroll wheel, you have an additional third button, it connects up to 3 different devices, and it's got a trick up its sleeve, which is that you can pull the back of it out and it houses a little USB-C dongle. Now, it doesn't have everything that you would want. I believe it's only a 3-in-1, so you do have an HDMI 2.0 port. You also have a USB-A 3.0 speed port for data transfer, so it does transfer up to 5 gigabits per second. And then you have a USB-C for power pass-through that supports up to 60 watts. And again, what's nice about that is that you don't have to ever worry about losing it. It's nice and small. You can just put it right inside of the actual mouse itself. So I'm a big fan of products that can do multiple things in one. So again, this is by a company called ProtoArc. I highly recommend this as a mouse that you were using for travel, or if you're using with your iPad. You can use it with pretty much anything that has a USB-C port, and it charges via USB-C, and the battery lasts a decent amount of time. If you guys do need a mouse, this one is one that I would recommend as a on-the-go one that's going to be able to check off a lot of boxes without being overly priced. So of course with the travel pack, you're going to need some sort of power solution, and I have 2 different ones. One of them is going to be more so geared towards the iPad Pro, and then another one's going to be a MagSafe battery pack, and they're by the company Raycon. Yes, the same company that makes those headphones that we probably saw advertised on every single YouTube channel back in like 2018, 2019, but I am very impressed with what they have from a power solution standpoint. So the first one's going to be their 5-in-1 Magic Power, which again, the reason it's a 5-in-1 is because it's a battery bank that houses 10,000 milliamps, and it does have everything that you would need from a power source for this specific setup. Now, it does max out at 20 watts of power output, so I wouldn't recommend getting this for something like a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro because it's not going to give you enough power to really charge it at the speed that you would want to. But for the iPad Pro, for your iPhone, for your AirPods Pro, for your AirPods Max, it's going to be more than enough. So what I like about this is that it's multifunctional, right? You have the prongs, which actually plugs in directly to the wall to then actually charge the device itself because it does have 10,000 milliamp hours, as I mentioned. You also have 2 built-in cables. You have a USB-C and a Lightning cable that pushes out up to 18 watts of fast charging with each cable. Then you also have a USB-C port, which does give you that max wattage of, I believe, 20 watts. Then you have a USB-A cable, which gives you up to 18 watts of power. And then lastly, you actually have a MagSafe puck on here, which does give you up to 15 watts of wireless charging. Now, I do believe it's MagSafe compatible and not MagSafe certified, so with iPhones, it'll charge at 7.5 watts. And if you have something like an Android phone with MagSafe, then it'll charge at that full 15 watts fully wirelessly, and the magnets are extremely strong. And 2 more things that I like about this. There's a lot of things to like about this Raycon power bank, so again, color me impressed when it comes to this product. And then you also have an LED screen, which lets you know exactly how much percentage you have in terms of battery capacity on the actual 10,000 milliamp hours. And then lastly, for good measure, there's a little pop-out kickstand that you can use to prop up your iPhone. So they've thought of everything. They're treating this as kind of like a travel battery bank that also charges something like your iPad Pro or any iPad for that matter. So definitely check this out if you want a power solution. But again, that only charges at a maximum of 20 watts. And then the second power solution is going to be a MagSafe battery bank, again by Raycon. And this has to be the slimmest MagSafe battery bank that I've seen. And I've been testing this one because I'm always a little hesitant with these power banks that aren't made by Apple. Sometimes they overheat. You know, they'll say it's 5,000 milliamp hours, but in reality, it's not getting anywhere near that when charging your iPhone Pro Max or something like that. And this one has withstood everything that I would need it to withstand. It is 5,000 milliamp hours, it's extremely thin, about the same size as maybe even the iPad Pro, and it charges your iPhone at those 7.5 watts. And what I like about this is, I don't know how they did it, but first and foremost, it gives you the animation that you are charging via MagSafe. And secondly, in your battery widget, it shows up. So it's showing up in your battery widget as if it is something like the MagSafe battery pack from Apple. And this is the only MagSafe battery pack that I've personally tested that does that, where it shows up in your battery widget on your iPhone, so you know exactly how much power is on this MagSafe battery pack. And also you can see that there is an LED light indicator, so you can see how much power there is there as well if you are using this with something other than an iPhone. But I've just been impressed with the power solutions by Raycon, so I'll link these down below. And this MagSafe battery pack is one of my favorite things because of the slimness, the lightweight, the fact that it is a true 5,000 milliamp hour battery that's charged my iPhone 15 Pro Max from 10% to 100% and still had a little bit of charge. So definitely take this one into consideration if you're looking for a MagSafe battery pack. And then two more items to kind of round off my everyday carry or my travel pack when it comes to the M4 iPad Pro. One of the things that I will never leave the house without is my T7 SSD by Samsung. And this is the T7 Shield. So it's technically a little bit more rugged. I mean, I'm not throwing this thing around or anything like that, but it's nice to have the peace of mind that if you drop it, you're not gonna like lose all your data because of this nice little housing that it has. And this is a 2 terabyte version. I believe they have a 500 gig, a 1 terabyte, a 2, and even a 4 terabyte right now. And they're definitely on sale, so I'll link them down below. But it's an SSD that you know will work. And I've tested so many SSDs, from cheap ones, from no-name brands, to more expensive ones, from more reputable brands, and I've always had issues with corrupt data and being able to move stuff around and maybe speeds and things like that. So again, this T7 Shield I use on a daily basis. I edit all my video off of this T7 Shield. All of my footage is on here, all of my final projects are on here, and I have the 2 terabyte version, and I use this to edit all my footage on my iPad Pro using LumaFusion, even on iPadOS 18. And then last but not least, I had to include the Paperlike Cleaning Kit because it does give you a nice little compact solution to make sure that your screen is nice and clean at all times, because let me tell you, the iPad Pro is a fingerprint magnet, especially in that new space black colorway. And one thing that I am waiting for is for Paperlike to release their modified Paperlike screen protector for the M4 iPad Pro, which still is not out yet. So in the meantime, I'm using this to make sure that my screen is clean and ready for whenever I end up getting the new M4 iPad Pro screen protector from them. So that is my M4 iPad Pro EDC travel pack. This is something whether I'm going into an office for just the day or something that I bring with me literally on an overnight trip or maybe a long weekend trip, because I like to have all my things on the ready. So this will pretty much encapsulate everything that I need with my M4 iPad Pro, from the dongle to the SSD to my Sonos Ace headphones, and it all fits perfectly in the Shinjuku bag, so I absolutely love that messenger. That's gonna be my new go-to. There was a backpack that I wanted to show off, but unfortunately that brand no longer exists, and that's the EverForward backpack, which I'm still using also as more of a travel bag for clothes and things like that. So I'll show that one off with a little bit of B-roll here because I absolutely love that backpack. But like I said, that will do for this video. Everything that I mentioned will be linked down below with the most competitive pricing, and just pick and choose whichever one that you would want to kind of complete your current setup. I'm not expecting people to buy everything all at once because it does get relatively pricey, but maybe inspire you guys to pick up one of these accessories for your current iPad Pro or even your MacBook setup, because a lot of these are interchangeable and they work with one another. So let me know in the comment down below what you think. Are these accessories that you like? Are you a fan of leather accessories versus maybe plastic or some other materials? I'm definitely on my leather aesthetic right now because I just love everything leather. It makes it feel a little premium, whether it is vegan leather or actual real genuine leather. I'm a big fan of them equally, but something about the smell of genuine leather in full grain leather is just amazing. But that's gonna do for this video. If you guys did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so that I know that you made it to the end. And if you guys want to watch more videos like this one, YouTube thinks that you're gonna like this video right here, and then if not, click on the other one. But until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.